In this video, we'll glimpse into the second part of our beginner's course, we call it Sociopolitics, and discover some philosophical insights from ancient Greece. The first question is, living in solidarity, is it a utopia or a necessity? We all have an intrinsic need to connect with the world that we live in. Each one of us has a need to be a part of the collective one can belong to. A family, friendship, environment, or perhaps even something larger. During our course in Philosophy for Living, we discover a philosophical dimension to this timeless and yet very modern question. How do I live better, or how do I live well with others? Our modern mindset seems to have a difficulty to square off this aspect of me and others, proposing individualistic solutions, often at the cost of the collective ones, unconsciously building walls between us that are difficult to tear down. And yet, the philosophers of ancient Greece reminded us that we belong to one humanity and share a common destiny. This was a deep aspiration of humanity that inspired meaning and direction in daily life. We can choose to be discouraged by the divisions of our modern times, or we can choose to learn to live with others and nature better, with more solidarity and courtesy. When they said to be the citizen of the world, it was a deep sentiment of an individual who chose to better oneself and grow ethically out of their responsibility for others. What are our challenges living together? Putting it plainly, our resistance to overcome our differences and to find meeting points of unity and solidarity. It is natural that we all bring nuances to the world, but these nuances will also bring a natural level of conflict. It is not unusual that we don't see eye to eye. The problems come when we insist on focusing on our differences and can't let go of our desires and preferences. How can we go beyond our differences? Ancient philosophers suggest that we need to develop a more global perspective in our lives. What they meant by this is a vision that brings us together and not apart. Plato teaches that we can only overcome our collective challenges by developing higher ideals. These ideals are timeless values that allow us to recognize ourselves and others as one, transcending our imperfections and apparent differences. These higher ideals are not the points of speculation, but aspirations to be lived and reflected upon in our daily life. The first step is to choose to improve and become more truthful to our inner humanity, so that we can be and become more just, good, and kind towards others, even under the pressures of life and our differences. Ultimately, we are the others, the collective, which is why Plato reminds us that a more just society begins with a more just individual. We are all familiar with the advice, be the change that you want to see in the world. The question is, do we choose to live it? The choice is ours.